it's tough. Connecting someone deeply you just met and trying to make it work, it's tough. And what comes to my mind is that really the more you want it, the more you want to connect with someone, the harder it is, okay? The more you want it to go a certain way, the more you want it to go your way, and you want this relationship or this friendship or whatever it is, it actually tends to push it away. And the reason I say this is because when I was younger, I had a lot of social anxiety. I looped on thoughts of what people thought of me. I looped on thoughts of do they like me, do they not. I still do sometimes, but it's it's like a percent of what it was years ago, okay? Because I went out a lot. I studied this shit a lot. I've got a few books here. They're out of the frame, but I've researched the hell out of this. This is one of the biggest questions I had. I wanted to be able to connect with people pretty fast. I wanted to build trust with people very fast. Probably there was some ego reasons earlier on. I wanted to be able to go to a bar and literally connect with the girl, have amazing adventures with her, just like that. Get a number just like that, very quick. So building trust and building a connection fast was something that really interested me, something that I had a passion that I wanted to do. Because I knew with me, it's like, if I could connect with someone really quickly, like a girl, it shows that I'm probably pretty attractive, right? People might want to hang around me because I'm able to do that. So that was very interesting to me, and it was something I didn't have. And because it was something I didn't have, and I realized that, it was a goal that I set my mind to do, to try and figure out. And what I think now, looking back, for someone who has this question and doesn't know much about the mind or people and social dynamics, it's a tough question. And not just about social dynamics or any of that. The wanting, the needing to want that, it can push it away, but then I can tell you just let go. But how the hell do you do that? So there's a lot of information and things you could do, but what do you do? Where do you start, right? With me, what I realized is the less I wanted to connect with someone, like right now, honestly, if I'm alone, if I'm single, if I have a girlfriend, it doesn't matter to me too much. Like when I think about having a girlfriend or a relationship, I'm actually thinking this is gonna be a lot of time. Like I have to invest time. I want to work on my business, and this is the other thing. People will say, "Oh no, but I want to spend time on my business and work on myself because women, they take up too much time." I think that's bullshit. I think for a lot of people, they say that shit, they're just bullshitting themselves. And why I say that is, it's just a rationalization. A lot of people can't connect deeply with people. A lot of people don't have that ability. A lot of people can't drop their ego and just be with someone and be laughing, cracking jokes, having a good time. Whenever I'm with people, I only spend time with people that I know are going to be a good investment for me. Only people that at the end of the day, I'm going to be like, yeah, that was worth it. I learned something, or I improved, or whatever it was, I got a step forward. And so in comparison to people where it's just like, you're just drinking alcohol, just hanging out, like lounging around, I don't really invest time in that anymore like I used to. I don't see the benefit in that. And that's what I mean. When you're more indifferent to wanting the connection, what happens is you allow space for it. And I just said I don't generally care if I'm single or not, so how would I even connect with somebody? If the opportunity presents itself, as it does, it still does, I'm able to relax and let go and just be with that person. The personal, the ego, the mind, the things, what do they think, what do I have to do, that is the problem, that mind talk, okay? I was actually just talking to my mum before, and I kind of had this epiphany, right? I was kind of realizing, she's very into politics, and she, I asked her, I was like, she was just complaining about politics, about, this right-wing party they don't understand, and people should go left or whatever. I don't really understand all the dynamics. And I was thinking, she complains a lot, And I think people at a lower level of consciousness, I just got my mum out then, they tend to complain a lot about things like that. And I was like, don't these governments, don't these people with all the money, don't they want you to create trouble and want you to complain and want you to fight each other and go, yeah, those people, yeah. Because that aggression, that dynamic, this was the epiphany. I kind of realized, that complaining and the discontentment is probably a reflection of what's going on in my mum's mind. Not just about the politician stuff, but in general. I think what we tend to perceive inside, say if you're lonely, if you perceive yourself as lonely, now you're thinking, I need to meet someone, when will someone complete me, like, oh, if only I find the one, or if only I go to a club and everyone likes me, or we're seeking those moments where people look at us and go, and just look up to us. We want the validation, we want approval from others. But in terms of connecting with someone, that is the problem. When you want someone's validation and approval, and you want to, look your best in front of people get pushed away, right? The two things, right? You want approval from someone, and you also want to look your best. It's both approval seeking. When you're trying to meet the standard as well as seek someone's approval, well, you're literally trying to be cool and put on this front and trying to connect and do whatever it is you're doing because you want it to work, because you want their approval, and then you can accept yourself. That's the problem when you want to connect with people, because you have to drop that. You have to be willing to express who you are. Authenticity, like, I know with myself what I used to do. I used to get really intrigued by authenticity, like how much can you push authenticity. I know with a girl I used to date, what I did once was, we're sitting on the couch, just in my house, and I was getting in my head, she was putting music on. I'd never been much into music, and she actually had a playlist of songs, like on Spotify or something, but I've never really made a Spotify playlist, an iTunes playlist in my life. I've never, I was always a little bit insecure about my musical interests. Like, I didn't know that many songs, and a lot of my friends, they can sing all these lyrics and all these songs, and I'm like, I'm not that sort of person that can just do that off the top of my head. I think I have an interest in music, and I do like it, but I'm this sort of guy who just look up lo-fi hip-hop on YouTube and just listen to some random music. I don't know the names, I'm just listening to music, right? That's what I do. So when she was playing all these songs on the couch, as stupid as it is, I got in my head. I was like, I felt kind of funny, and I was in my head, and I was like, I didn't know what to say. But again, it's not just the music. Really, it's to do with my subconscious, because I was somewhat insecure, and she was a really pretty girl, and I wanted it to go well. And she was, we'll see each other once a week, and I didn't want to screw it up, because what happened to me prior to that, when I was dating her, was I'd always get in these power dynamic relationships, right? Where it would either be the other girl who's got the power, and I'd be like friend zoned, or she'd lose the power, and I'd be on top, and I'd friend zone her. And I was pretty blunt with explaining that, but I don't know if you might sometimes be in these relationships where it goes, you got the power, then she's got the power, and it's kind of stressful when you're the one, and you're putting them on a pedestal, and you're like, I wish I could just stop putting them on a pedestal and just be myself, or just relax. But it's tough when you're in that headspace. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, authenticity. So what I did in that moment where I was getting in my head, I looked at her and I was like, you can see it, can't you? And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you can tell. And she was like, don't know what you mean. I'm like, and then I said, I'm all in my head. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, and as soon as I started admitting it, what would happen was, the vibe just changed, and I just got in the zone. I started feeling like, this is one of the first times I really experimented with being truly authentic. And you'd be like, what the hell, what do you mean? You're never authentic? But try and be authentic when you're feeling crushed. I was feeling crushed then. I was like, this date's gonna be ruined, she's not gonna like me. it's gonna go sour, like I may not see her again, like this is horrible, I'm just so, I've screwed it up. So and I was in that headspace and I was like, 3, 2, 1, and I was like, you can tell, can't you? And I just pushed it into, and I went with my vibe. What I was feeling at the moment, I just went with it, okay? And that changed the dynamic. That was like, oh my god, she was like, she lit up too, because I dropped the ego, I admitted it, and she like saw something in me. And then what happened minutes after that was like, I just picked her up and I just took her down another room and we just had and we had fun. That was a really good experience. But I bring that up because authenticity is another way of building a connection. When you can drop the ego, even though it sucks, we have all these expectations, like we want to be the best, we want to be cool, we want to look attractive, but that's the problem when it comes to connecting with someone. I talked about this in just another video I posted, why you don't feel good enough, authenticity versus fronts, and I go deep into this because not being authentic will plummet your self-esteem. When you're not willing to admit to the person who you are, your self-esteem will drop. And the reason it does that is because you're rejecting half of yourself. When you're not willing to express that part of you that's like dying, and that feels like it's dying in the moment, you're messing up your self-esteem, right? Because you're not willing to express half of your personality when you're dying, you're rejecting yourself, half of yourself, but you're also, in a sense, I was going to say like rejecting the girl, but that doesn't even make sense. But what happens internally happens externally. When you're in full acceptance and you're willing to express anything, and I do say have boundaries. It's like if I really like this girl, so I'm going to message her every day, and I hope she really likes me back. I'm just expressing who I am. People take it to that extreme too, and that doesn't work either. You have to have emotional boundaries. Like you have to have a boundary where you're not willing to pass, right? You have to have respect for the power dynamic, right? That exists. There's a thing called the halo effect, which I have another video about, but basically your perceived value, how much value that you are like by the other person, how much value they perceive you to have is actually how much they're willing to invest in you. So if someone like, say, a celebrity, like imagine all their fans, like, oh my god, they're here, right? And that's called the halo effect. It's when people are attracted to you, literally for no reason. You just have like some sort of perceived value, and people are drawn into that, and you can connect with them because you have that aura, you have that halo effect. And so what happens when you're texting someone every single day, it diminishes that halo, and people start to go, like they don't see the value in you as they once did. If you spam someone every day, what's going to happen is they're going to be starting to feel like this is boring, like this, I have this person, I can't, like there's nothing interesting here because they're just attached to me, like, you know what I mean? It's like you're blowing holes in your energy system. It's like you're just messing everything up just by latching onto the external, latching onto other people, and it's blowing holes in your wall, in your boundary, and it messes it up. So connecting with someone, you want to have that halo so your perceived value is high, and the way you do that is be authentic but have boundaries at the same time. Do you see that? And there's also an element of letting go here too. And I would encourage everyone to read books. Letting Go by David L. Hawkins, brilliant book. You want to train this thing. The big reason there's a lot of suffering in the world and people feel lonely is their mind. The mind is messed up, right? We can blame the external. We can blame, other people. Oh, the government sucks, that's why I feel pain. Oh, people suck, I cannot just find someone like me. I want to just find someone reliable like me. We can blame all we want, but that's just a reflection of what's going on here. I don't really have those thoughts anymore. I don't blame the government. I don't blame anyone else. Yeah, like, it kind of sucks whatever's going on right now and all. It's the start of 2020, and you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to mention the words. I think I can say racism, but the other thing going on, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want to go into why. but I think it screws up the YouTube algorithm and stuff if I say the word. But yeah, we can blame all that stuff if we want, but if we're not feeling good in here, if we're not blissed out, like feeling chill and relaxed and that sort of thing, right? But of course, it's going to be hard to connect with people because you haven't connected with your own sense of self yet, right? So you want to let go of the fronts, the ego, understand the mind, be authentic, have boundaries, have a halo, and that will help you connect with someone else deeply fast. I'm sorry I didn't give like a quick tip, do this thing and you'll connect with them. Maybe I did, maybe you got something from this, being authentic, maybe dropping the ego, maybe that'll help. Even with approaching, like I'm very involved in pickup. I love pickup. So say if I'm during the day, I see a girl across the street and I want to say hi. I realize now, dropping the ego and not trying to get a number, not trying to be attractive, and just being me like I'm doing right now. I'm just dropping the ego. I'm just relating to the camera or whoever's behind this camera. You know what I do is I just imagine like the average guy in this world, like the average person, and I try and relate to that guy. And so this camera I'm talking to, it's like I'm talking to that guy and I'm trying to relate to the average guy in this world. And with the girl, I just be like, the problem with connecting with someone you just met, you want the number, you want it to work so well, or whatever it is, that's the problem. That's why you're finding it hard to connect. But if I'm just relaxed and I'm not trying for you to make you like this video or make you like me, what happens is maybe if you're still watching this by now, it probably means you're enjoying the video. So you want to have that same effect on people. You want to be able to drop the ego. And you don't have to have the most knowledge in the world either to be able to do this. That's a limiting belief. Like, I don't know, I'm just imagining maybe this is my ego, but someone watching this video, like the stuff I'm saying, it might be like kind of, whoa, it's like, oh my god, this is a lot, this is deep. Like I don't quite understand, like maybe you don't understand it, but that could, you can have a limiting belief, like, oh, I'm not good enough because I don't understand the high vibe, how to social dynamic meet people. That's a limiting belief, because if you telling yourself you don't understand it, it's just your mind. You have to drop that. The point of this video is to direct you towards that letting go, relaxing, authenticity, boundaries, the halo effect, that sort of thing, right? You get it. Now you just have to do it, and you don't have to judge yourself, because it's what's personal is universal. We all think we have these little problems, but the truth is we're all messed up. We're not all messed up. I think there are some people who are like super content, of course, and you get that. I think that's totally achievable. The average person, most people just coping like with this world, right? Oh, we have to go to work, get business, get money, relationships. Oh, my life sucks. Smoke weed. I think life can be amazing. Like amazing. I'd love to get into it in this video, but I don't want to piss people off, because I think my views on the world, it contradicts a lot of people. The stuff I've read, I think there's some trippy levels of consciousness you can get to, but to get there we have to detach from needing everything to be right in the external world and trying to balance everything. We have to let go. And that doesn't make sense either, but if I let go I won't be able to get everything. No, yes. Do the business thing, pursue relationships, get better socially, learn. The best thing you want to do is learn. It's all about the journey. It's not about destination where you go. It's about the journey. You want to ascend spiritually. You want to reach higher states of mind. But at the same time, we have to accept that we're in the physical world, right? We have to have a job. I was going to say relationship, but you don't have to have a relationship. But if you're someone where you want to learn on your social skills, totally go out, learn that, read, research, and do all that. But understand, that probably won't make you happy. It will, it will, the journey will, but getting the result or the social skill or the person, it's not going to make you happy, right? That's why we have to ascend as well. We have to be able to let go of trying to attach our identity and our happiness from the external, and we have to start generating joy in our own minds, okay? And the thing about meditation, right? People think, some people have these limiting beliefs like meditating is really fun. At least maybe I do. I don't think it's fun. I think it sucks, but I think that's part of it. I think the reason we get bored doing nothing is because people suck at doing nothing. We're so addicted to the external, getting all the perfect things lined up, that we can't. We get completely bored doing nothing because the mind just it wants to cling onto everything. So I think meditation sucks because in that 30-minute process, what you're doing, you're trying to detach. What you're doing is suffering in that moment, but it's good suffering. It's suffering the end result, meaning you're suffering in hopes of detaching eventually. Like imagine if you meditate, like let's say monks, they meditate like all day every day. So what happens when you meditate all day every day and you're probably bored as hell, at least initially, until you start detaching? It sucks, right? But eventually you start being in alignment and have joy in the present moment. And when you have the ability to be happy now you can connect with people easily because you're not so needy, you don't need all the social skills, you don't need to learn all this stuff, you don't need to spit them out and get the result. That's your natural state, you're just naturally attractive, right? Because you've let go. So that's my point. Like if I was to do this video and I was like, I had 10 little things lined up and I was going to explain them all. My recent videos, I had things written on a wall, on the whiteboard, and I was like reading off it, but I wanted to it took too much time, if I'm honest. I wanted to experiment just talking to the camera. But the reason is I'm not thinking about what I'm saying right now, it's just coming, it's just flowing. And that's the ideal how you want it with people. You want to just be flowing and not needing something to happen. But of course, if you're just starting this, use a little technique, use a gimmick, use a line. If that gets you closer to the end goal, if that gets you started, go do it. But understand the end result, you want to be able to come from that place of just being. And you'll be surprised the shit that happens when you're at this mental state. It's like people are just you can just light people up and you like didn't even do anything, just your presence. Like I've gotten numbers from girls not saying anything. I'll just do this as a thought experiment. I'm just going to talk to that girl, I'm not going to say a thing, and get a number. Because I followed someone online, RSD Tyler, Owen Cook. I'm going to talk about him like in every video. I think people get pissed off, I talk about him all the time. But he talks about it's not your energy, it's not what you say, it's the energy, it's the presence, it's who you are is attractive. It's not what you say, it's not the content. Like even in this video, maybe the stuff I'm saying is interesting, but I think I'm coming at it from an energetic place that it feels nice and maybe it resonates and it hits the heart, it hits home with what I'm saying. I think there's a part of you and people watching this that what I'm saying, it probably resonates, right? Because I think deep down we know it's not the technique, it's not the pickup line, it's not the perfect thing you say, it's about who you are, that presence. Yeah, so I've got numbers. I haven't done it that many times, only a couple times, but yeah, I'll just like walk up to the girl and smile at them like that, and I'll get my phone out and look at my phone and I look at her and she brought her phone out and no, she grabbed my phone and she put a number in. I was like, wow. And the funny thing was, this is earlier on in my journey. I didn't really understand the being or letting go stuff and presence, and this was earlier on. Yeah, as soon as I started talking, because I wanted to take the interaction further, as soon as I started talking, I messed it up. Because as soon as I started talking, the words out of my mouth, it messed it up. And I was like, what the hell? Because the words, and I was like, wow. Maybe so much of what I was saying and how attached to how the interaction went, because the fact that I was so attached, that probably screwed it up. And then it made it click. That's like, it's more the energy, it's more your vibe. Because what I noticed, when you learn a new social skill and you implement it, it usually goes well. This is an interesting phenomenon. Whenever I learned a new technique and I implemented it, like there was this thing, like, I'm gonna just be honest here. When I was earlier on my journey, I did things I look back on, I'm like, that was not good. And one of them was compliance momentum. Basically, it's really messed up. It's like how you train dogs. But basically what I did was, if a girl like laughed at me or smiled, I would reward her compliance and maybe give her a hug. And when she didn't, and when she looked away or wasn't happy with me, I would do the same thing. I would reflect her behaviors, and it would show that it would give this halo to perceived halo, because it showed that I didn't care. It was all a front, really, but it worked. And if you reward a girl when she's like smiling at you and laughing and enjoying the moment, it just pumps her emotions more. So if I was to like hug a girl while she's laughing at my joke, it's perfect because her emotional state is already pumped. You hug her again, it pumps it even more, and now you're doing the emotional roller coaster thing. Because people love emotions, they love the energy, and that was an interesting dynamic. So yeah, but I actually dropped that very soon. I didn't get to the point where I was overusing it, but every other sort of technique I'd done, even lines, openers, I would use them and it would work. But eventually it would stop working, and I'd find something new, I'd be like, oh my god, this is it, and then I'd try it and it would stop working. And that's the sort of effect you have with techniques. But you want to get to the place where you eventually drop it, where you've let go of it and just be present. Because that's where you'll get the most results paradoxically, and it doesn't make sense to let go, but how am I going to get what I want? At that point you don't even care about getting what you want, but you can get it anyway, because it's just your energy, it just draws people to you. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, and that's, in terms of connecting with people, you want to be at that state. It's a journey, but it's worth it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, I hope you enjoy it. The video is here.